it's funny that you think that's funny.
Whoa, is it just me? Or did Hayley end up married to her mother considering Jeffrey, but unlike Francine, is a bit more controllable? Actually, that was an episode in the TBS era, Kitty. Well, dang. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad, or more specifically, Hayley and Francine. Now, normally in my Francine videos, I discuss her relationship with people like Stan or Steve, especially as a mother because those are her closest relationships. Like how her and Stan have two totally different parenting styles, but they balance each other out when it comes to raising Steve. But one relationship I've majorly regretted not including until now is Francine and Hayley, because, I hate to say it, I'm probably not breaking any barriers, Francine is a horrible mother to Hayley, in specific. I mean, she's also crappy to Steve, but in a different way. Maybe she's not as bad as to Steve, as there are times when she is 100% on Hayley's side, like in Stan Knows Best, for instance, where she's the only one against Hayley moving out, or she and the strippers are the ones who talk Stan out of kicking Hayley out, or she even does some chores for Hayley, like laundry and rinsing up the tinkle can.
Isn't she beautiful?
Is that a Chinese baby?
Sure is. Japanese, to be specific.
Stan, I don't want a new daughter. Don't you get it? I want my Hayley!
However, there are other times where I'm really doubting Francine being a good mother to Hayley, which we shall get to. And honestly, unlike Steve, where it's usually played off as a joke or too comical to warrant a call to CPS, I mean, have you met his principal? Well, her treatment of Hayley is a lot more disturbingly realistic, especially in terms of her neglect, I hate to say. One reason it took me so long to get to Hayley and Francine is because I couldn't find any good episodes between them, especially in the Fox era, until I started looking at the TBS era. So, let's discuss. Just to get it out there, the reason I feel Francine does not like Hayley is disturbingly realistic. At first, I thought the biggest reason Hayley and Francine don't get along is because, much like Stan and Hayley, they're on two opposite sides of the political spectrum. Yes, there are times when Francine is more liberal or accepting than her husband, but 98% of the time, well, Franny still upholds values Hayley resents, especially in her choice of career, I guess you can say.
This whole business of baking contests for women is so 1950s. Why don't you get back your right to vote while you're at it, Mom?
The biggest is being a housewife. Somebody who, from Hayley's perspective at least, gave up everything to make babies and take care of a man and be submissively at his beck and call, rather than maybe having a partner but using her potential to live for herself. Even if, no offense, dude, we know by and large, it's Francine's choice mostly. Even in the real estate episode, Stan did not care she had a job, even if he called it a hobby. Dude, it's a job! Just that she wasn't taking care of him and making more money. Wow, it gets worse the more I say it, doesn't it? Oh, crap. Helping Handy's touches on this, where Hayley makes a movie for Groff Community College where she essentially mocks Francine for being a housewife, and tells a whole room full of onlookers she didn't make anything of herself, and she should be a target of their mockery.
Mom can't tell you who her congressman is, but she does know this.
Never throw away old shower caps. Use them to cover casseroles.
Yeah, I'm bringing up fret levels again. Yes, I do by and large think, considering that episodes like Shallow Vows, that Francine mostly chooses to be a housewife. But then again, there are times when it isn't necessarily Franny's own choice, so it makes it harder to argue like this is her own choice. Fret levels being the biggest. Hayley, your mother had a job she was damn good at, and your father was the one who made sure she did not anymore because he messed with the stock market.
This senseless rate hike by Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan has jeopardized the fragile U.S. economy and put every real estate agent in the country out of work.
That's a shame. I'm sorry, hon.
If anything, get mad at him for when he tries to hold your mother back so she can make him sandwiches. I mean, come on, I can't believe he can't just order out. But Kitty, what if they use the tiny corn?
He's launching baby corn torpedoes. Open.
But this whole debacle really makes Francine mad, and I'm kind of on her side here. Hayley could have used the movie to say that while she loved her mother, and she was proud of her, she was regretful she couldn't be more, but her mom could be a big inspiration. Instead, she essentially turns Francine's life into a comedy.
How humiliating! Hayley made me look like a total idiot.
Honey, you're not a total idiot. I mean, you got the point of the film, right?
On the bright side, it does energize Francine to get her degree and become a surgeon like she always wanted, albeit one that makes American Mary look competent because her only qualification is going to a course at sea.
We take you the legally required 67 miles offshore where the international laws of the internet apply and certify you in the career of your choice.
And a Dr. Barrington.
His specialty is hugs.
Oh,
Oh, I want a Dr. Barrington. Fizz can never do real medical stuff. I've tried. Whenever we do, it always brings back unpleasant memories for him. So much he can't even talk. Really, Fizz? And we were gonna sell that kidney that we stole. Wait, is that Teddy Bonkers? Don't you guys remember the episode Hayley is? He's Hayley's handler from Project Daycare. So is he cosplaying as Dr. Barrington? But despite Hayley saying that despite the effort, well, Francine just paid extra for a fancy piece of paper, which to be fair, she has a point about.
My diploma? This is printed on the back of a Chinese takeout menu. You've clearly been scammed, Mom.
Doctor! I didn't go to school for 12 hours to be called Mom!
Francine persists and gets a job working for the handicap mafia. Not a bunch of mafia dudes who do regular mafia stuff but happen to be disabled. Rather, they're disabled members of the mafia who fight for disabled causes.
We operate within the handy community, picking up the scraps the regular mafia don't got time for. Forging handicap placards, rigging the Special Olympics, the para...
Alright, so long as they're cool with it. I mean, they're making the most of the world and bringing awareness to an issue. But thanks to Hayley, Francine realizes she has kinship with her new friends. She wanted to be more, and it cost her to be a surgeon. And she thinks they can and should be more. Even if, no offense, I feel like there's an irony here. Kind of like Francine, they could be more, but they were content at their positions until somebody brought it up. And Francine really has no skill as a surgeon, I hate to say. Maybe she'd be a hot nurse, but not a surgeon.
You aren't living up to your potential. Neither was I until I saw my daughter's movie. So I made more of my life, and so can you.
It wasn't until somebody told them to do more, or go against the grain despite that not really being part of their limit, that they tried to be more to their own detriment.
I became a surgeon so my daughter would respect me. And now I don't even respect myself.
Once you're in, there's no way out.
But I took that lamp off your brace.
Wow, this episode is sad. And BTW, this is the episode where Steve gets giant boobs. Honestly, it's one of my least favorites. Why did I not put it on the list? See, Francine inspires them to be truly inspirational and make something of themselves by robbing a bank, aka a more mafia-fitting crime.
You can demand respect. You are handy-capable.
I mean, it goes horribly, but the thought is still there. That's what counts. Sucks though, they seem like nice dudes despite their ties to the mafia and everything. But anyways, why don't we see Hayley and Francine super often? Well, I was gonna call it a flaw, since my rule with these videos is I must point out at least one flaw, but I think it makes sense from a writing standpoint. It might get a little redundant for Hayley to fight with both of her parents. We already have lots of plots of Hayley and her dad butting heads over politics, especially during the early seasons. Do we really need plot lines of Hayley and her mother butting heads over politics, and what are they supposed to talk about? Like I said, Francine's kind of liberal. Even like Surrogate, Hayley was on her side.
You accused Greg and Terry of creating a bad environment for this child, but you're the one who's stressing Mom out, and that's not good for the baby.
Yeah, but...
Do you want to be responsible for hurting an unborn life?
No.
And despite that, well, Francine isn't really a political person, I'd hate to say. Like, she's a blonde Republican kitten, but Stan's more the political one who makes change.
I don't vote. It's just so confusing. I go into the booth, pull the curtain, and count to 10. Then I come out, yell, "Democracy!" and run to my car.
Yeah, so on the bright side, American Dad quickly ditched the politics and instead became a show focused on a crazy family with a crazy dad who occasionally leaned more towards the right. And my favorite with the two, mostly for the comedy, is when Roger implies he has a boy crush on Hayley, only to gain one on Francine, by making these snide little comments.
Bam and the bam! The bop and the woo!
I thought you were drawing me.
I was, but I never realized your mother had the wabam!
What's interesting is that Roger doesn't have to try that hard to rile them up, even by Roger standards. They do all the work for him, which I think says a lot about the pair and what they think of each other, rather than what it says about Roger.
Get off of me, you cow! I'll spit in your lazy eye! I had that corrected! I can still tell!
Like, they're that insecure, both as people and as mother and daughter. Roger acts like he has a crush on Hayley. Whoa, I should make a Roger-Hayley video next. But unlike that one time, it's more of a cute, adorkable puppy love kind of way. Not like, John and Yoko. Hayley's Yoko.
Hey. Hey, you.
Oh, hi, Roger.
Not you. Hey. Hey, you.
Oh, hey, Roger.
But he says something important. Hayley is the prettiest girl in the house.
Look, he says I'm the prettiest girl in the house.
Ha, Roger. Last time I checked, I lived in this house, too.
BTW, Francine isn't in love with Roger. She's just jelly that he thinks Hayley's more attractive. I should make that clear. Francine decides to show Roger why she's called Francine Cans McGee by dressing up a little, making herself look pretty.
Wow, Franny, look at you.
Thanks. Just trying to look pretty, 'cause, you know, I live in the house.
Ooh, she's hot. I mean, this eventually leads to a fight, which Roger keeps egging on.
You love each other, remember? These are here if you want them.
For a reason. Not reasons. He explicitly did all this for one specific reason. It's not because he actually liked Hayley nor Francine, although considering this is Roger, I wouldn't be surprised if something, whatever. But anyways, Roger reveals he did all this just to get a free t-shirt. One he won't share with Francine and Hayley.
The liquor store girl? The diorama? Just for a t-shirt?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna get a medium. I know I'm a large, but I'm gonna get a medium.
And again, it's funny how he makes it more exciting.
Ladies, please, no violence.
Aww, it reminds me of home. But anyways, Roger is uploading it to this YouTube-type channel where if you film a mother-daughter catfight and submit it, they send you a free t-shirt.
Enough! Enough for what?
Why, for motherdaughtercatfight.com. You submit footage of your best mother-daughter scratch fest and they send you a free t-shirt.
Ugh, rude. They're the ones who did all the work, Roger. They should get a t-shirt too. But admittedly, great plan. As a content creator, I can respect such dedication to the craft. However, I feel like this says something about Hayley and Francine, that they get that easily jealous about the other, beyond it showing how easily insecure both are, especially of their own ages and just aging in general, especially in Francine's case.
Dang, technical knockout. Francine, doesn't she look terrific?
Nah.
Come on, look at that body. Young, firm, everything's where it should be.
Like, we see that Hayley was so insecure about the fact she didn't really have a chest, and I think it didn't help that Roger's one of the people who bullies her for not having a chest, that she had to stuff it with toilet paper.
See our tissue boobs!
Fakies!
Well, you know what I see? Crow's feet!
Age-defying makeup!
Fakies. And I think it's among the first to show how Francine borderline resents Hayley. Even in Honey, I'm Homeland, Francine is the most unsympathetic to Hayley being afraid that Stan is possibly dead or being tortured, even though that's her own husband.
I told Dad to wear those sunglasses. This is all my fault.
Well, then you better just hope he doesn't get out of there alive.
Which sadly, she is correct considering how Hayley suggested, albeit as a joke, that he wear specific sunglasses, which as far as they knew, alerted the hippies to him, because they don't know the twist at the end. But dude, not necessary at the moment.
I'm so worried. What if Dad doesn't come back?
Then you'll have killed your father. Do I really need to explain this to you?
So why does Francine feel disconnected from Hayley? Well, besides differing values, I think you have to remember when exactly she had Hayley. Kind of reminds me of BoJack and Beatrice. Unlike Steve, she had Hayley when she was young, as Hayley is her oldest, and I don't think Hayley was a planned baby. Well, considering the kidney stays in the picture, she definitely wasn't. And hey, maybe the fact she never knew who Hayley's real father was made it harder for her to bond with her daughter, because there was always that inkling thought like, are you Stan? Are you Joel's? Which is why condoms exist, just saying. But beyond that, Stan and Francine also had things going on at the time that a baby would impede, even though it's not the baby's fault, guys. They didn't choose to be born. They didn't ask to be made. But even though Francine is more well put together nowadays, with the exception of, say, occasionally smoking a bone and then drinking a 2-liter of Sunkiss in like 5 minutes, well, she was a wild party girl who just got used to the idea of settling down. And Stan was trying to find Ollie North's gold, only for Hayley's birth to kind of impede that. Remember, Hayley's middle name is Dream Smasher. That's canonical.
Because the kids came along and I didn't have time anymore.
My God, is that why my middle name is Dream Smasher?
It sure is, Hayley.
Which admittedly sounds kind of awesome. Like, Hayley, Dream Smasher Smith! But for a wrestler, not for a child. But that implies Francine had to consent to that being her middle name. Like, she agreed even a little bit. And she even calls her Hayley Dream Smasher in that same episode.
What's going on?
Hayley Dream Smasher Smith, did you put that nose ring back in?
No, this is a new one.
Another idea, for me at least, is that Hayley, until the seal clubbing incident, was a daddy's girl, which is canonical considering Stanny Get Your Gun. And Franny had no one, so to speak, until Steve, which might have majorly hurt her. Like Hayley was more Stan's daughter than hers. But this is just all speculation. The TBS era ramps this up to a major degree, with a good many episodes focusing on the pair. And again, unlike Steve, where except for episodes like Iced Ice Babies tend to be more over the top, the mistreatment is a lot more realistic. Like, I I imagine for some viewers it might hit closer to home. The same thing kind of happened with Morning Mimosa. Not for me, I'm just saying, writing is weird. The worst is probably Businessly Brunette. Like, I was actually tempted to put it on a top 10 list a while back, but then I was like, no, I'll save it for this video. One night, Roger is wandering around when he opens the door in the bathroom, because he's clearly never heard of knocking, and discovers a terrible sight. Hayley in a suit talking to Samuels, who was sitting on the toilet. I remember that meme. I was like 10 when it came out.
Don't look at me! Hayley, in a business suit? But you're the lazy hippie gal, and Samuels, he's sporting equipment, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is, tell me more.
But what Hayley's doing to Samuels isn't gross or anything. She's happily married to Jeff at this point, and I'm sure if something did go down, Jeff wouldn't mind sharing Samuels with her. He's that cool. He's that kind of a husband. But Hayley does confide in Roger the real reason she's doing it. She has a secret dream she's been hiding. All her life, she wanted to be a businesswoman after she saw a businesswoman on a bus.
A life-changing moment on the bus. On that bus, I saw a businesswoman. She was so put together and confident. I wanted to be just like her.
AKA a leader, somebody who has made it, somebody people look up to, especially a woman in a cutthroat, male-dominated industry. Like, this was around the same time Hayley started realizing, crap, the world is a cruel place. I already brought up the whole bus angle. But something that's extra tragic, Hayley actually went through the effort of saving up all her pennies and buying her own businesswoman suit as a child. But Francine ruined it.
Oh, honey, you're not a businesswoman. You're my cute little Hayley.
Whoa. Don't worry, Hayley, I've been there. Literally, my parents sat me down on Christmas when I was 18 and told me I couldn't be a teacher, and look at me now, I'm in grad school.
I guess that's why I am who I am.
Now, I interpreted this at first as a comical moment. Like, Hayley took something out of context that Francine said when she was a kid and just held on to it for years. Because as a parent, I hate to say it, you're not gonna be perfect. You will say stuff you don't mean or you think is a joke, especially that young, and unfortunately, it will stick with your kid in a bad way. And this is American Dad, so I can see the twist being Francine did not think Hayley meant that because she was a kid, or maybe Hayley was misremembering it or something. But if Hayley said as an adult she wanted to be a businesswoman, Francine would just shrug her shoulders and be like, sure, why not? You were 5, I didn't know I hurt your feelings, sorry bro. But no, Francine, even to this day, is a dream smasher for Hayley. Odd name. It makes her feel worse whenever she has any kind of accomplishment or idea. See, thanks to Roger, who is very supportive of Hayley this whole episode more than her own mother or father, because Stan has his own subplot, well, Hayley decides to live out her dream of being a businesswoman to prove her mother wrong, to such a degree that she even takes off her headband, oh my god, naked forehead, and rather than being proud of her or saying like, okay, I don't think you'll succeed, but I'll still support you anyway because you're my daughter, I'm proud of you, but saying it nicer than me, obviously, Franny just laughs at her.
Oh my god. I dare you to go outside like that. Greg will lose his mind.
Whoa, not cool, dude. But I'd argue it does put episodes like Genevieve Vance or My Fair Lady into perspective. Hayley tried so hard and was so eager to achieve her dreams there just to prove her mother wrong and to prove to herself she can do it, even if it meant doing pretty nasty things.
Tired of ignoring the world's problems. So today, I start my new job for a local news reporter with a brand new show.
Oh, that sounds hard. Are you sure you want to bother?
And she did pretty well in those instances, all things considered. Outside of Genevieve Vance, it was circumstantial. Like her boss's own incompetence when it came to planning something. Actually, I think Genevieve Vance is a good amalgamation of my point. See, that episode had Hayley become an intern at a news station, which was Roger's news station, but nobody knew that. And she was super excited to tell people, including her family, only for them to bolt at the first available opportunity.
Hayley, behind you!
Damn it, one at a time, you guys. This is why we had all those drills.
Whatever.
That's rude. But she did whatever to achieve her dreams, even faking Steve's kidnapping just to impress Roger enough to do her own story on Garbage Island. Something she was passionate about, just as she was passionate about journalism. But okay, why does Francine think Hayley won't make it? Maybe she has her reasons. Maybe she feels like Hayley could do better. Well...
This isn't you. You like to smoke weed and wear a headband. You're an institution in this town.
Okay, jerk, you do the same thing. Where's your medal? I think the sad part is, well, tragically, Francine might have a right to think that, considering how, to some degree, yeah, from the offset, that's all Hayley does. Well, we see multiple times that Hayley has the drive to be competent. It's just considering episodes like Less Money, Mo Problems, or Pride Before the Fail, she has a tendency to hold herself back by being lazy or trying to take the easy route, which totally doesn't describe me at all. I was never told I had potential a lot of the time, but was doing the bare minimum or in my own world too much enough to not make my ambitions a reality. Totally not. But Hayley has had numerous successful ventures or ambitions, which again this episode puts into a new perspective, like the Heifer Project and G-String Circus. She actually did pretty well. Even Stan noticed how well she was and said that she should run her own dry cleaning business, or becoming a pharmaceutical sales rep and a little extra scratch, or her influencer career. Because no offense, you might hate influencers, but anybody who thinks it's an easy job clearly hasn't done it. Last semester, there were times where on top of student teaching for free and working on YouTube, I'd have to work some days from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. with only 2 hours of sleep certain days, if at that. And while Francine brings up she is perfectly fine with Hayley working at SubHub, well, she did make manager there, which is pretty impressive, I'd argue.
I have no problem with your little sandwich job. Just leave the business to the businessers.
Instead, Francine does one of the most hurtful things you can possibly say to a child. Compare them to others, albeit real businesswomen, not like, say, Steve or Roger.
Mary Barra is the CEO of General Motors. Ginny Rometty runs the hell out of IBM. Marilyn Hewson, president of Lockheed Martin.
Fun fact, today I learned these are all real businesswomen, but except for Mary Barra, all of the other women retired. Coincidentally, in 2020. I feel like this is one of those episodes they recorded like right when everybody went indoors. What I find ironic is that Franny doesn't think these women overcame a lot to get to where they at. She's like, oh, I think you guys are cool, but the thing was, to be great, you have to make sacrifices. And Langley also had to deal with doubters. Ginny Rometty's father left when she was 15, so her own mother had to work multiple jobs to put food on the table for her and her 3 siblings. Well, Ginny had to watch them in the house each night. Or Marilyn Hewson, ironically, to contrast Francine's point, Marilyn has said her own mother was her biggest influence, that she was in the WAC, and she raised 6 kids after her own husband died when Marilyn was 9 years old. Marilyn has even gone on record to say, my mother did what all great leaders do. She sparked the growth of future leaders, which I think is a good point. Sorry, tangent. But that further proves my point. Hayley tries to go to Dr. Penguin for advice, but he's not there this week, so she has to deal with Roger's businessman persona, Lou Babadoo.
I'm Lou Babadoo, business guru. I'm renting Dr. P's office while he's dead or still at Sundance.
Is he Italian? It kind of reminds me of the fake Italian Peter spoke. Thankfully, she gets a job at a company courtesy of one of Roger's personas having a major crash out.
I know a lot of you feel the same. Who's jumping out this window with me? Oh, so it's like that, huh?
I don't know. Maybe Stan will join you. You gotta call him, though. Just call him and ask who the president was when he was born. He'll go on a long diatribe. However, Hayley's job isn't as a bored woman or behind a cubicle or as a secretary. My worst nightmare, behind a cubicle. Rather, it's working in a mailroom, which, as somebody who did sort of do that before YouTube, I think is perfectly fine.
It was Karen's birthday, and they got her a cake, and we all ate some. Even the boss. And they say if I work hard, I can move up to junior executive someday.
Yes, hard work is not the only way you achieve success, even though to some degree you do have to, but you gotta start somewhere. Still, to me, another tip of success is also knowing people and forging good connections with those people. You get very far in life not just by proving to people you have talent, but by being nice to them. Because chances are, if they hire you, they will see you every day, and nobody wants to work with somebody they don't like. Working in the mailroom, Hayley would get to know everybody, establish a good presence, and show she knows how to keep the pipes rolling, because honestly, no mail, the whole system collapses. And this is for people who hate frontline workers or minimum wage workers. Remember, you might think we're in a dead-end job, we control everything. Oh, you think the fact I work in a mailroom means I didn't finish high school? Oh, you ordered an expensive anniversary present for your wife, which needs to get here tomorrow, and sent it to the office rather than home because it's more secure? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not here, we lost it in the mail, I'm sorry, dude. Strangely, Hayley actually has a good time, and she's doing good at her job.
Still wearing that?
You know why I'm wearing it? Because I got a job in business.
Oh, honey, if that's what you think is gonna make you happy.
Yes, Franny, she's still wearing that. She's making something of herself. Like, even if Hayley isn't a businesswoman by your own definition, she is getting there. You don't become one overnight. Hayley herself gives her own theory for why Francine keeps trying to put her down. Unlike Hayley, she never made anything of herself, and she's jealous that Hayley is getting to do what she couldn't.
You make fun of people following their dreams because you've never made anything of your life. Now that's funny.
Which, again, I hate to say it, she isn't wrong about. Remember, a big topic of my review of Francine, especially White Rice, was that Francine is content with her life, but wishes she could do more, only to always lose out. Even episodes like Carlotta Monterey, why the does it always go back to Carlotta Monterey? Franny might put so much stock into something as stupid as a pie contest because that's the only time she's ever actually rewarded for being a housewife, especially by people who are in her family. And the idea of a random stranger she's never met getting the credit she wants likely hurts.
Mom, your pies are fine.
Fine won't wow the judges at the county fair, and fine certainly won't beat Miss Carlotta Monterey's pie.
To prove Hayley wrong, Francine gets a job at Hayley's mailroom, which leads to a bit of competition between mother and daughter.
Mom, I didn't mean...
No, you were right. This seems like a fun goof. Is that okay? Or are you afraid that I'm gonna out-business you?
Also, I like the detail that Francine is wearing a purple pantsuit too. Sort of like she's showing up to Hayley that she's better than her. Oh, you think you're better than me? They learn tomorrow is the big pitch meeting, where the lower level employees get the opportunity to pitch new ideas to the board. And if they get approved, they could potentially become junior executives.
Junior executive?
Look at me! I'm in your shirt now!
What? The possibility of becoming a businesswoman dropping into your laps with an idea that's all your own? Of course, Francine needs to stomp that out like a cockroach. Hayley starts to think of ideas but can't find any, so Franny further taunts her.
Aw, if this is too stressful, I think there's another pitch meeting in a year or so.
Don't you have an idea to work on?
Again, I thought at first this was supposed to be like a good thing. Like maybe she was trying to reverse psychology to like help Hayley. Since maybe she thinks Hayley works better when she's told she can't do something because Hayley's super stubborn. But no, it gets worse. Hayley thinks of the idea of meatgetti and spa balls. Think of like a reverse spaghetti, where instead of meatballs you get like these giant balls of like dough, and instead of like spaghetti you get like these strings of meat.
Well, today we stop the insanity. I present to you meatgetti and spag balls.
Which admittedly I think is a good idea, even if it's probably just gonna work as a novelty concept. And on the bright side, Roger advises Hayley to get in on Francine's head just before the big pitch. That way she'll be rattled.
Did you eat fish recently?
What? Why?
Never mind. Good luck up there.
Why did she ask me if I ate fish? Do I have fish in my teeth?
Oh, just as Francine got into her own head. That's smart. During the big pitch, the idea goes off fairly well. Like, I'm really surprised.
For the past 100 years, this company has solely manufactured medical equipment. But what the hell? Let's do this! Third floor, stop making those baby pacemakers.
But to prove a point to Hayley, Francine ends up sabotaging the idea by sabotaging the prototype and giving everybody food poisoning.
Are you gonna be that nasty? Damn, you are.
I hate you so much, Franny. In this one specific episode, otherwise you're my fave, babe. They end up having to fight in the Thunderdome because it's always the frickin' Thunderdome. Duh, everybody knows that. And Franny reveals why she kept discouraging Hayley. Because like Hayley, she had her own dreams of being a businesswoman that got discouraged by her own mother.
Tax advice from a 5-year-old! You think you could be a businesswoman?
No offense, Francine and episode, I get what you're saying about tall poppy syndrome. Even a few of the characters pointed out.
Sean theory, if someone is tearing you down or targeting you as competition, it's often because they are lacking in confidence or support themselves.
To me, it seems more like tall poppy syndrome. Like you showed more potential than me, so I'm gonna cut you down to my level so I feel better and unchallenged. But Franny, I hate to say it, you kind of treated Hayley worse. Your mother simply discouraged you, which is still bad, but come on. I doubt Mama actually tried to tear you down when you showed an inkling of being successful. Like, I doubt Mama went to your workplace and ruined your own idea. I mean, I think it'd be in character for Mama to do so, but we don't actually see it. Or she never says it. I think it was just the one comment. And knowing Francine, it probably was the one comment. But that's why you let your kid live the dream you wanted to live. You should want better for your own child. And don't say it's something like Francine doesn't know any better. Admittedly, I do feel a bit sad for Franny, but as a YouTuber, I have a role to uphold, so sorry if this is coming off as me being mean or anything. Still, I think it once again retextualizes a lot of Francine and Hayley episodes, or even individual moments.
So, you were just doing to me what your mom did to you?
I hated it when my mom did that. And then I did it to you.
Which is weird. Why did this show about a genderqueer alien that murders people and drinks rosé be so deep? Sorry if I'm repeating myself, but a frequent theme in my Francine videos is her own failure to launch. Like Hayley, she has a lot of potential, but always squanders it to take care of her own family. I already brought up White Rice, because there's no reason she couldn't just go back to doing stand-up. But the biggest one for me is Fart Break Hotel, where she actually achieved her own dream of being a businesswoman, even if it meant living a dishonest life as Sarah Blanche.
What are you doing? What's there to even think about?
You're right. Mr. Farnsworth, I'll take that job in Portland.
Wait, what?
But the thing is, while the episode portrays Francine as leaving everything behind to be Sarah because she felt her life was empty and lacking, what if she also left to prove herself? To prove to Mama she could be a businesswoman, and a damn successful one considering the future.
We hate the thought of you spending another holiday alone.
Thank you, Jonathan, but I'll be working.
Sure, it's not taxes or accounting, but it's still something. I mean, she already saw at the conference that she knew what she was talking about, even if it was just mostly BSing. Maybe she learned on the job. Or hey, in the earlier seasons, we learned Francine's lifelong ambition was to open a muffin kiosk, to the point of sleeping with various celebrities in order to try to get the money, and she did pretty good at that too. Or even Fret levels, Stan considered her real estate career a hobby. She considered it a career.
Nonsense! This job is my career!
No, my job is a career. This is just some silly housewife's hobby.
Oh, yeah? Well, this silly housewife loves her hobby.
Heck, I'll even add her garden to that list because she got successful that way. But Hayley, Francine is desperate to prove herself, maybe more so considering her age, since she not only needs to prove her drive to be something was worth it, she actually followed through. We know from episodes like One Woman Swole that Francine is one of those people who has great ideas and potential, but always gets cold feet and just gives up. And I don't mean that in a bad way. She's like Finbar Calamitous from Jimmy Neutron. Honestly, I feel like I'm Finbar Calamitous from Jimmy Neutron. And not just because I can do a damn good Tim Curry impression. Oh, why didn't I put a bathroom in here? But the point is, Francine is weirdly tragic considering this episode. She could have been something, but the people around her, from her own husband to her mother, tore her down or took advantage of her because they didn't think she'd be worth anything. No wonder she has these big aspirations of being more. No wonder she tries to drag her daughter down to the muck or make her be a housewife. It's really deep. Or am I looking too deeply into this? Francine and Hayley do make up by bonding over the Trolls movie.
Reminds me of the end of the Trolls movie when all the trolls get caught in that big cauldron and it was like all was lost for them. I know this isn't the exact same situation.
Franny, that would involve killing Mama because singing killed his grandma. I cannot for the life of me say that with a straight face. But the two do make up and Francine reveals that she really did have an idea, which is surprising, just saying. I thought she was gonna steal Hayley's idea and poach the credit. Francine's idea is clothes for teeth. Like little doll clothes, but for teeth.
Clothing for teeth?
Yeah, little outfits that you could wear on your teeth.
You mean braces? Or are they clothes for the braces? Which would also be a good idea. But the idea is successful and the pair bond over it. At least they're happy. Still, I have to bring up one final moment. Not from this episode, but from another episode. Hot Scoop further shows the neglect on Franny's end, where she says she went in the other direction and has done nothing to explicitly help Hayley because
eventually, you're going to let her down. So how do you prepare her for that? By letting her down early and often.
So you're saying you're not going to be there for her?
Yes.
What the No, that's terrible advice! Did you learn nothing from Businessly Brunette? Oh well, at least the TBS era has other great Hayley and Francine episodes like An Irish Goodbye. Anyhow, on that note, bye!